And they say that I am not a man of moderation, that I don't have the ability to control myself. What a bunch of hooey. That is nonsense. I know that later today, I've got a series of things happening that are going to involve a tremendous number of cigars. So I'm not having one right now for the show, which is kind of ridiculous. I should be having one anyway, but I made my choices. Guys, my name is Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz Today. It's good to be with you. Of course, the tariff conversation. Got an update on understanding the bond market from Dr. Matt Will. And this whole diversity is strength nonsense is worthy of our time. I'm glad you guys are here. We're also alive on the Twitter X. You can follow me there. Let the show begin.
Well, first of all, in order to kiss his ass, you have to get Mike Johnson out of the way. That's number one. Number two, what is his exact plan is what I want to know. Yeah. I was home. I had a cold yesterday, so I was home watching everything. And I'm thinking, he's trying to destroy the country. Now, why is he doing that? Just as a person in the audience, like watching this. Yeah. So there's a couple of theories.
Yes. And
like what's... Yeah, first of all, if he tanks the entire, what do you call it?
Economy,
the stock market, then all his billionaire friends can swoop in and buy everything low. That's not a new.
The Joy Behar theory of economics. Why didn't I think of this, everybody? Joy Behar has figured out that if he tanks the economy, his billionaire friends will be able to swoop in and buy everything. Genius. My gosh. The idea that she makes more money than me, to this day, the most frustrating thing that I deal with day in and day out. That the idea that Joy Behar, for less than an hour's worth of work, with five other co-hosts, makes more money than I do. Sometimes you have to, okay, God's got a plan, right? Tell me right. Tell me right. Tony Katz Today. What are you doing, everybody? Find everything at TonyKatz.com. The live stream is happening. You can find that over there at the YouTubes. You can find it on Twitter X. Just search for Tony Katz. Facebook, Tony Katz Radio. I am there. Yeah, it's been wild. Markets were up. Markets were down. Not the end of the world stuff. NASDAQ has been up most of the day. The bond market, that's where things are getting super weird. But there's nothing about what Joy Behar said that is true. And I know this because it was said by Joy Behar. People are desperate for their ideological camps to be accurate. Desperate. It's not just a question of desire. It's a question of need. The amount of people who I was discussing that if you were to take a look at your social media feed and you were to go to it right now and people are talking about tariffs, right? President Trump said, we're engaging tariffs in all these countries. We're going to bring about reciprocal tariffs to get better trade deals. But the tariffs were not about being reciprocal, and they were not about anything other than trade deficits, where we spend more in one country than they spend with us. The argument is that this is fine because these countries then invest in us and we're better off. And countries that have the surplus on the trade deficit aren't as financially secure, strong, capable, and able as we are. Therefore, it isn't something that we should concern ourselves with. I agree with this philosophy. President Trump clearly did not and engaged tariffs based on those trade deficits, utilizing a formula that I don't believe, based on the reporting, was properly put in place. Neither here nor there. We're in it. We are in the great game now. Trump said he was going to do something like this, reset trade deals. Other countries are taking advantage of us. No one should be surprised that this happened. Although you could say there was some surprise to the breadth of it happening and the utilization of the numbers based on trade deficits and not reciprocal tariffs. Enter China into the mix and into the conversation. right? Because China is not one that's going to bend. They have the capability and the capacity to fight, so they are. And we've now gotten ourselves up into tariffs of 104% on Chinese goods, 84% from China on US goods, and the possibility of dumping bonds. We'll get to that as well. Will China do it? Right now they're just threatening it. What does it mean? China's also warning tourists and students of U.S. travel risks. There is no risk whatsoever to a tourist from China. As long as they're not coming across unaccompanied by the southern and northern border, they're fine. Student visas. And I've been hearing about how there are colleges, well, these students they're having their visas revoked and they don't know what's happening. Allow me. You are not guaranteed a student visa, and you are absolutely at the whim of what might be happening with your government at any time. You, without question, are at the whim of the U.S. government, and you have no right other than some very basic things that we all agree on. No one's allowed to hurt you. No one's allowed to rob you. And you have full access to our legal system and to our systems to ensure that you get your things back, to ensure that you are what is the word you want to call it? Respected? Does that make you feel good? Absolutely. But do you get to stay in the country if your country acts the fool? No, you got to go. Blame them. Don't blame us. Don't think that you have rights. Don't think that you're special. Don't think you can run to a television camera. Goodbye. And if Trump does not start moving actively on ending student visas from China, then he's making a gigantic mistake. That should have happened on hour one. Even before you gave your address when you're at the swearing in. It should have happened quick. That quick. Not going to worry about whether people on student visas get to stay. Sorry, it's not an interesting conversation. And nobody has that quote unquote right. This whole conversation, the entirety of everything we're watching here and looking at. First, no one should have been surprised that Trump was going to make these moves. No one should have been surprised by such a thing. And no one should be surprised that people are looking at this from their political perspective only and solely. Where did I start with this whole conversation? If you look at your social media feed right now, half the people on that social media feed will say that America has China right where we want them. Watch this video to find out how. And the other half, China has America right where they want them. Watch this video to find out how. But in a video about China, about a half an hour later, you have to watch it again because you're still hungry. That's the math. That's how it works. You think these people know? This is a great time to take a look at the influencers and say, my God, you're boring as hell. And not a one of you should be in my feeds. Delete, block, see less, say less, pay less. Get out. These people don't know, because what they're desperate for is the click. What they're desperate for is the ideological advance as opposed to the conversation. Now, I think someone would say that about me, right? Oh, Tony, you're a conservative radio host on the political right. We know what you're saying. Have you ever listened to the show? What I'm saying might have a little bit of context. What I'm saying might have a little bit of depth. And by the way, there are plenty of hosts out there who are doing this part of it. I was discussing social media side, not so much the radio side. This is not about some ideology, because there's nothing about a trade war that fits in the conservative mindset. Zero. There is something about a trade war, if we're discussing the idea of protectionism, that does fit in a liberal mindset, which makes it even crazier that the political left looks at this and says, my God, look what Trump's doing. They should be overjoyed. And yet they're miserable. They're so upset. How dare Donald Trump? My gosh, what is Trump doing? What does he think? He's destroying this. He's doing that. And then you get the dopiest people on planet Earth, like Joy Behar.
Yes.
And
like, first of all, if he tanks the entire, what do you call it?
Economy,
the stock market, then all his billionaire friends can swoop in and buy everything low. That's not an original.
She is part of a party that has long believed in the protectionism. And now, because it's Trump, she cannot be in favor of the protectionism. It has to be about his ill-gotten gains for his friends who also have ill-gotten gains. I guarantee you that Joy Behar has more billionaire friends than you do. I will guarantee you that Joy Behar has more millionaire friends than you do. You move to your ideological place. How in the world can you be trusted to have a conversation? My politics, my conservatism, therefore leads me to places regarding how an economy should grow and thrive, how it should be built, how it should happen, and why it should happen. It is absolutely the ideology, if you will, the study that leads to, okay, based on these things, based on these thoughts, based on this methodology, this value system here, this would work best. And I don't think tariffs work best based on that. Joy Behar is saying, I have no system. I have no basis. All I do is say, what do my emotions tell me today? Oh, this sounds good when I say this together. And there she goes. And in many ways, no different than those freaking nonsense influencers that everybody's like, oh, check out this, because it rationalizes something they already think. Agreement and disagreement is just fine. This all stinks to high heaven. The market is not the only indicator of the economy. China, if they do indeed sell treasuries, creates an issue. The idea that China can outlast all this and they're so tough, I don't buy into that for a holy second. Not for a moment. Maybe it's a mixed bag. Maybe it's not all perfect all the way around, just like life. Maybe that's the answer. In the meantime, we're in it. And if we're in it, I do want to win it. And I think in regards to China, if they want to engage these tariffs at such a high level, knock yourself out. Knock yourself out. As you'll hear me discuss, for Americans, it might create annoyance. But if things get bad in China, it might lead to unrest. And I'm here to tell you, I want a whole lot of unrest in China. Let Xi Jinping question his long-term future. In the meantime, I hope you bought your electronics, because those prices are going up. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. wonder if that conversation bothers people, right? Well, it's the idea. Producer Landon's in my ear, guys. Welcome to the show. That if you're somebody who's MAGAville, I'm not being deferential enough to Trump, and if you're somebody on the left, well, then you're just buying into what Trump's doing. Honestly, I don't give a good holy damn about any of that stuff. It is just boring. Just like this troll. Sorry, I'm just you're gone now. Have a nice day. With the cursing and everything else, and so boring. Yes. Everybody who voted for Trump is a cult member. That's so brave of you. And so the number one question I used to get asked in my radio career when I came to Indianapolis is, when are you moving? It was a weird question. It was predicated on the idea that Indianapolis was a stepping stone. And I don't think people understood that I was home, right? I'd found something and I wanted to be a part of it. I live in a world where you can do anything from anywhere. So why would I have to be in New York or DC or anything like that? Maybe I'd have a bigger TV career, but then I'd have to raise kids there, and I'm made decisions, right? Now the questions have changed, right? It's not that. It's how do you keep your head, and how do you keep from screaming with all these insane people around you at all times? We'll get into that in the next break as we get back to the radio show. Right there. Because the panic continues. Let me get to this right here.
And we gotta be a high alert. So he's gonna try anything he can, and to help himself, of course. But I believe the man genuinely, fundamentally wants to hurt the country.
This is now the latest talking point. And you heard it from Joy Behar, and there again is James Carville, who I believe may have some level of transmitted disease. I'm not sure. I am not sure that I can say that, meaning I have not been able to do any medical examination of him. And so I'm not saying that he has some level of transmitted disease. I'm just saying that if he can claim that Trump has syphilis, it is open season to what it is you think James Carville has contracted. Yeah, that's the way it works. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. This is James Carville saying that people should be on high alert because Trump is going to try and rig the midterms and declare martial law. I'm so old that I remember when you couldn't say that an election was rigged. I remember that because it was just last year. The thing they say you're doing is the thing they're doing. You know that, right? When they accuse you of something, that's because they're doing the thing. They're just doing the thing. It's who they are. It's what they do. And ramping up this rhetoric, I will tell you that I was amazed that the quote unquote rallies over the last weekend did not engage more violence. It was mostly all right. I know that sounds like a CNN thing, mostly peaceful. Skirmishes are not setting buildings on fire, right? So we're that's where we're make our differentiation. And it could be that outside of some big cities, these things were not greatly attended. But every single move being made it's not in your head. You're actually watching it and witnessing it, seeing it take place. More and more violent talk, more and more violent rhetoric, more and more look at what these people are doing to you. I am critical of progressives and progressivism. I shy away from that with nothing. I don't shy away from it at all. I don't apologize for it. I shouldn't have to. There it is, right there for everyone to see. I don't see how this ends well. I can't imagine that this ends well. And maybe I'm wrong here for sharing Carville. I mean, he's just ridiculous, so I'm sharing him. But he's talking a lot, and everything he's discussing is some level of go attack Trump supporters and compare them to Nazi sympathizers. Go out there and be careful about the midterms because Trump's got to try and rig it, which means you can go after Trump supporters and treat them like this, that, and the other. Everything is a call to violence. Every last bit of it. I've often discussed the fact that the only way out is through. And that sucks because it's like, here's this very down note. And then it's like, okay, let's move on to the next subject. And where's the other side of it? I'll tell you where the other side of it is. The other side of it is winning. The other side of it is winning. The other side of it is a policy on the border that works. The other side of it is lower taxes. The other side of it is putting an end to the United States being involved in a war that isn't necessary, although sometimes it might be necessary. The other side of it is that boys are not girls and girls are not boys, and everybody's like, yeah, that's right. Why? We don't know why we let these crazy people ever have a say to begin with. And I'm talking about the adults who encourage children to be confused. That's the other side of it. The only way out is through. But those are some examples of the light through the tunnel that we have to get through. Like what's his name in Shawshank Redemption, crawling through all that crap to get to freedom. And then we all get to meet Red at a beach in Mexico, which if we listen to the people who engage in conspiracy theories, that was all just a dream sequence. And they never actually met up in Mexico. That was just Red dreaming about what it would have been like to see his old friend, Andy Dufresne. Andy Dufresne, that's who climbed through the crap. We're all Andy Dufresne, and we just got to get to the rain cleaning us up and the freedom that comes with it. I'm Tony Katz. An Andy Dufresne reference. Try and get that from Eric Erickson. Now I'm going to get emails from Eric. Like, why? Why is this? Oh, Lord. I don't. Even in here, even in the chat room, and leave any comment that you like. I'm more than happy to engage. But some people, it's not interesting. Why am I a globalist? Because your mom. That's why. What is this? It's just the silliest thing ever. Well, there's a lot of silly out there. You're not listening to me. You're not engaging with me. Well, I move on. Let's see. So I have a whole story about Pete Hegseth and this admiral, and I want to get to that. Let me write that down. I'll pull out the dry erase board right here, which I do use. I was gonna bring up this whole thing about lamb, but I think I figured out my lamb issues. So I was looking for a lamb recipe. And it was a question of, I have a lamb roast that I need to make. And do we think a lamb roast is different than a leg of lamb? And like, I don't know why that confused me. It's like, you know something, but you're like, I want to double check because something isn't making sense in your head. And I realized it was because I just wasn't reading the label right. It was a boneless lamb roast, which meant it was indeed a leg of lamb. So why am I like, I'm looking at recipes, I'm like, no, that's not right. No, that's not it. Um, hmm. So I figured that out. So I don't have to talk lamb with anybody. I do have some other stories. Now, as to the video hiccup, if you see it hiccuping, I do apologize for that. That is an internet issue that I'm not so sure I'm going to be able to solve right now. So we'll go with it. I hope that'll be all right. Oh, now people are talking about, I'm a fan of goat. Isn't that cabrito? Isn't that it right there? 1 minute there, producer Landon. I hear you. Not an expert on goat. I love lamb. I've done very little of everything I've done. I've done very little lamb preparation. Just hasn't been something that's come my way. That said, that's changing. I've started writing the book, Let's Go Grill. You guys know I wrote Let's Go Bourbon with Fingers Malloy, and we did Let's Go Barbecue, which is an excellent book. I'm very happy with that. But now we're doing Let's Go Grill, so I'm in the research phase of that, and I have to go do a whole bunch of things, like make a lot of food. Oh, we're back? All right, producer Landon, fine. Be that way. Come back to the radio show. Let's talk some stuff. I was just doing some work. I am overjoyed to see that more and more people are noticing that John Oliver is ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous. Tony Katz today, 833-468-8669, 833 got Tony. That's how you get to be a part of the show on the Twittix at Tony Katz. That's Twitter X, or Tony at TonyKatz.com. You can reach me there. John Oliver was the Daily Show correspondent, and he now has the show. What was it called? Last Week Tonight or something like that? Yeah, Last Week Tonight is the name of the show. And John Oliver has sometimes really done some very interesting deep dive stuff. Then he does the stuff where Donald Trump's real last name is Drumpf, and people are like, ooh, that's such a burn. Sure. Okay. Knock yourself out. John Oliver, I think, sees his emotions as virtue, which far too many do. And emotions aren't virtue. Emotions are emotions. And no one cares. You're entitled to your emotions. It doesn't make you right. It doesn't make you pious. None of that stuff. So he has this HBO show where he doesn't have to worry about ratings. And according to the New York Post, Kirsten Fleming reporting, for 42 minutes on his show, he argued that men who claim to be women have little or no discernible physical advantage over women. Oh, God, it hurts the brain. It just, you know what? We need to calm down a little bit. There we go. And breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Feel your toes sink into the sand. Nope, he's still a moron. Who believes this? What person living in the rational world believes this? It is obvious that in the main, men are stronger than women and men are faster than women. And if somebody were to see a woman that is stronger or faster than a man, you would have to then put them up in the class of athlete or other exception with other people like that. And you would see that the woman is not as fast or as strong as the man. Is there an exception? My God, there's always an exception. Is there a rule? Yes. That's why we have exceptions. This is not sound thinking from John Oliver, but rather ideological thinking from John Oliver. And ideological thinking makes one dumb. His argument is there isn't enough research about men on cross-sex hormones. What do you think we need research on that we observe with our eyes? Let me share with you a story. There is a coach who used to be part of something called the NFL, the National Football League. You ever heard of the National Football League there, Producer Landon? Oh, National Football League. It's a big deal. All the kids know about it. Oh, yeah, all the kids. They watch the National Football League, and they're like, wow, this is really something else. This is really sensational stuff. Well, there was a coach in the National Football League by the name of Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick coached a team that no one has ever heard of called the New England Patriots. And it turns out they did a lot of winning. They did a tremendous amount of winning. They were winning like all the time. They won these things. They're called Super Bowls. They won the Super Bowls repeat like so many Super Bowls. It's kind of hard to fathom the amount of Super Bowls that they won. Well, he leaves the NFL for all sorts of reasons, and he's looking for a new job. And then it turns out that Bill Belichick, who is 72 years old and is the shape of an avocado, starts dating a woman. Hey, listen, true love is beautiful and wonderful and terrific. He starts dating a woman named Jordan Hudson, who is 23 years old, and I believe the technical term is a piece. Now, do I need a study, John Oliver, to explain to me what happened here? Do I need a study to understand why 23-year-old, oh my God, look at that body, not an ounce of fat on her, are those implants? No one cares. Jordan Hudson found true love with 72-year-old shaped like an avocado, probably because of all the millions of dollars he's carrying on him, Bill Belichick. Did I need a study, or do I just know what happened? What the hell are we doing? John, what the hell are you doing? You know what's true. I know what's true. Bill knows what's true. Jordan knows what's true. And so do all of those men who claim to be women. And all of those women you think should suffer. You know you're full of crap. We know you're full of crap. Your Meemaw knows you're full of crap. You're British, so you might not know what a Meemaw is. A Meemaw would be like your grandmother. Maybe you would call her grandmother, maybe grandpapa. I don't know. And that would be papa right there. But you'd be grandpapa. And either way, they know you're full of crap. There is no argument you are making here other than I'm the most woke guy in the room and my emotions matter most. Not logic, not rationality, but emotions. You know what bothers me most? He makes more money than I do. That is going to be a theme. That's going to be a theme for the rest of the day. Meanwhile, the White House was ordered to restore the press credentials of the Associated Press. I don't agree with the idea that somehow it is censorship to say that a press outlet can't be in the briefing room. The freedom of the press does not exist within the confines of that very small room. Nothing stops the Associated Press from engaging in reporting, even if they're not in the room. Now, that's different than whether or not you think they should be in the room, because I think the Tony Katz News Journal Gazette, now hiring, should have people in the room. By the way, that's been a big conversation around here as of late. It's not going to be the Tony Katz News Journal Gazette. It will be the Tony Katz Examiner Inquirer. Clearly, that's going to be the right name. I've also been toying with this as a name for a news outlet. The New York Times. No? You're right. It would probably suck. This district judge who is a Trump appointee, ruled that the government can't retaliate against the Associated Press's decision not to follow the president's executive order to rename the Gulf of Mexico. So therefore, the AP is allowed back into the room, right? Trump called the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. You forget that happened in the first 100 days. The first 100 days of Trump have been so completely nuts that we forget that he renamed an entire body of water. That's, try and keep up, people. Try and keep up. I'm going to say it again. Maybe one could argue that is not a reason to remove somebody from the press room. But I believe the other argument is I don't think you need a reason that some judge has to be okay with, because nothing has stopped the Associated Press in all of that time from reporting. The Associated Press has still been there. They still put stuff out on the wires. They are still quoted in newspapers all across the country, to the extent that people are still reading newspapers. They didn't stop. They didn't lose anything. They didn't have a financial downturn because of it. None of that took place. So maybe at the very least, we could say we no longer have to listen to this idea that if you don't have access to the White House briefing room, that you're doing great harm to journalism. Great harm wasn't done to journalism. Journalists have done great harm to journalism by not actually being journalists and not giving a damn about journalism. So they're back. But wait until we get the Tony Katz Times Post. What else is a good name for a paper? I already said Gazette. I don't know. We're gonna have to come up with some other names, but we'll get them in there as well. And when we're hiring, don't worry, you'll know. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. some good names for the news, right? The Chronicles, right? It could be the Tony Katz Chronicle or the Tony Katz Metro. Who did the Metro Messenger? That's pretty good. That Pete, nicely done. The Tony Katz Star. No, I think that Daily Wire has prevented Daily from being used in anything that I would be interested in doing or pursuing. Yeah, I don't want to say that. So I can't use Daily. Or maybe I can use Daily and I can't use Wire. It's got something in my eye. Oh, that hurt. How does that even happen? I'm wearing glasses. How in the world? I get something in my eye. Oh, that really hurt. Oh my gosh. Oh, what did I just do? Oh, I swear to you, I'm going full Matt Murdock. I'm going to go blind right here. Whew. Oh, Daredevil's so good, producer Landon. I am talking about the original season. I have not watched the new season yet. I watched it when it happened, and now I'm rewatching it with my youngest. And they're like, how do I not know about this? I'm like, I don't know. Probably because your dad sucks. And it's so terrific. It's so good. If you have not seen Daredevil, don't get me wrong, it's bloody, but it's spectacular. Spectacular. Super good stuff. Let me see what else is going on in the news. You got questions, I've got answers. I'm glad you guys are here. I am not calling it the cat's meow. I would, however, entertain the cat's pajamas. No, nothing happening there. Worthy of my time, love, or attention. Honestly, if I play one more thing from The View, my head's going to explode. So I'm not doing it. I will do this right here. 30 seconds. Was that what you just said, producer Landon? Thank you, sir. Thank you. No, I'm not going to go full scanners. Not doing that. Right on. There we go. An immigration conversation coming your way. Can't believe I didn't grab a cigar. Maybe I still will. I know. I've got a whole thing later, but screw it. The legal status of 985,000 migrants has been revoked. This is not a bad thing. Within this conversation, one has to remember that there's a manipulation of language at play. And that manipulation of language is the unwillingness to state there's a difference between legal and illegal immigration. Scott Jennings at CNN, if you would, please.
That shocked IRS employees, according to a source with knowledge. I mean, Scott, we talked a lot about going after criminals. I don't think anybody disagrees with that. 7 million means that they're not just going after criminals.
Well, they're going after people who are in the country illegally, right?
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying the criminals, this is a much bigger universe.
Doesn't that make you a criminal?
No, it doesn't.
To come across the border illegally?
Coming into the country illegally is a civil offense. It's not a criminal offense.
Okay, if you come into the country illegally, here's the message. We're going to find you and send you back. I mean, I'm sorry, that's the way it is. And I think the government should pull all the levers at its disposal to find people and pull this off. It's what the American people asked Donald Trump to do. Yes, they should be deporting violent people. Yes, they should be deporting people who committed violent acts before they came here. But at some juncture, if you're going to allow any illegal immigration at all, the message then goes out. Just get here. It'll probably work out for you. That was the last administration. This is a different one.
The government, including DHS.
Yeah. that Abby Phillip wants to make this argument is going to lead people to, well, we should make it a criminal offense. I mean, clearly that's the direction that it's going. This conversation was in response to the head of the IRS, who has now quit because there is now going to be a sharing of data on undocumented immigrants with the Internal Revenue Service. You mean illegal immigrants. This undocumented thing is a ruse. We're going to get into this in a bunch of different ways. This ridiculousness, the madness of wordplay. They are here illegally. They have broken the law. And when you tell me no person is illegal, I'll tell you, of course there are. Stop being silly. Stop. You're the kind of people who believe in the idea of our diversity is our strength. We'll get into that. That's a little foreshadowing right there. 985,000 people who utilized that CBP One app, Customs Border Patrol One, this ridiculous app that the Biden administration basically used to let people enter the country and make an appointment. These people have now been told your legal status has been revoked, self-deport. You can't be here. You got to go. This also goes into a story that is an absolute mind scramble that the White House handed out millions of Social Security numbers, 4 million of them approximately, to non-citizens. They filed for asylum in the mail. They never got interviewed. According to Stuart Varney at Fox Business, there was never an ID check. Simply, it was you applied in the mail. Here's your Social Security card. Have a nice day. Well, Tony, if they have a Social Security number, now you can track them and keep an eye on them. No. They have a Social Security number. Now you're saying, hey, you're a citizen. It's only a second before you get to vote. And oh, by the way, we never actually checked to see if you were a violent felon or you were bringing a disease with you or anything else that rational nations that believe in sovereign borders do. The Biden administration at every turn, in every place, was hell-bent on allowing people into the country without checking who they were. They were hell-bent on putting an end to the borders and truly hell-bent on destroying the country. This is why Donald Trump, in his speech yesterday, and you heard us talking about it before the speech happened, discussing the idea that these people are treasonous. Well, of course they're treasonous. The difference is that we should be treating them as treasonous. We should be discussing it as treasonous. We should be nonstop on the subject. Legal immigration, more please. You want to actually be an American? We're the place to be. You want to sneak into the country, take advantage of services, and then we should somehow bend to you? Bye, Felicia. I'm Tony Katz. Crazy story right there. I have much to get to. The TK Town Crier. No, because then people are going to call me a crier or a crybaby, right? That's how they're going to manipulate it. Please, I grew up with the name Tony Katz and I was a heavy kid. And man, I heard a lot of Tony Fats. I was like, you people are creative. Also, your mom. And I'm not going down that road again. Yeah. No, the burn was on me, producer land. And well, I don't know why you're okay with that, you jerk. You giant jerk. You're a jerk. You're a jerk. Your mom's a jerk. That was the burn. The mom was the burn. Yeah, your mom will give you a burn. Also a burn. Gosh. Good Lord. The Catstropolis Chronicle News. That's what my news service should be. Honestly, if you can't spell it, we can't use it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, happiness. We can't work with this. Again, cat's pajamas, absolutely up for bidding. Right there. Has anybody seen Sarah? Has anybody seen Sarah? I know she's working on a bunch of stuff for the event that's going on next week. Trump and American Reset in 3 bourbons. It's going to be so good. So good. The level of work I'm doing is ridiculous. Hours a day, getting everything in shape, ready to go. Tickets.tonykatz.com. Tickets.tonykatz.com. Trump and American Reset in 3 bourbons. We're going to take a look at the first 100 days of Trump. I compare them with Reagan, with Biden, with Obama. We take a look at what's been impactful. And then the response to it, the insanity. We're going to laugh our heads off. The bourbons I picked out are so good. I am so proud of what I have done here. You're going to love it. How it all ties together. It's fantastic. Food's all set. Big Hoppa's Barbecue in Westfield, Indiana. One of the 100 best barbecue places in the country. Providing the food. The cigars are here. I ordered 20 boxes. No, I ordered 10 boxes of 20. It's so great. It's so great. It's like swimming in cigars. It's going to be a great time. Get your tickets, tickets.tonykatz.com. We're going to take the short break. Keep it right here. Much more to get to. Give it a few. We've got the radio break. We'll take the break right now. Good to be back, everybody. Tony Katz. Tony Katz today is the name of the show. I appreciate you being part of the live stream, whether you're following on Twitter X, at Tony Katz, YouTube, Tony Katz, Facebook, Tony Katz Radio, or wherever it is that you might be. I appreciate you being here, being a part of what it is that we're doing. We're going to get into the ridiculous canard of diversity is our strength. This remarkable wordplay. And then I have a bunch of other audio things I want to get to. I don't know if I want to get into more tariff stuff, but I don't know how you avoid it. It's one of those things where I assume everybody's exhausted of hearing it. Oh, by the way, the Dow right now is up 550. The NASDAQ is up 414. Okay. Yeah, do the math. Figure it out. I do have a conversation I had earlier with Dr. Matt Will about really the bonds. And I will play that for everybody. I think at 130, 134. And I'll play that from here. So you'll be able to hear it as well. And we'll go from there and kind of dig in on what it all means. But these people, oh gosh, I have the Sunny Hostin audio. Oh, I got to do that. I know what you're saying, Tony, you're really giving us more of the view. This is special. This is very much in the same vein as Jasmine Crockett Masterpiece Theater. Yeah, it's special. Did I ever upload the Masterpiece stuff? No, I did not. Let me see if I can do that. Come back to the radio show, guys. Glad you're here. Let's go do this thing. I had never heard Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, say this. If I had, I would have cheered it long ago. And it was this statement about diversity is our strength, which is, of course, a ridiculous thing to say. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Find it all at TonyKatz.com. Phone number 833-GOT-TONY, 833-468-8669. That's how you get to be a part of the show. And I only hope you'll become a part of it. Trump administration fires female vice admiral amid widening purge of military officers. That's how it was described at military.com. That this admiral, Shoshana Chatfield, had been fired. She was a helicopter pilot, first woman to be president of the Naval War College, served as a senior official at NATO. one of the highest ranks in the Navy. Okay. Why was she fired? Well, the first things first, there doesn't have to be a why. The president can remove generals, admirals, captains as he sees fit. So there's nothing wrong with the idea that this happened. Nothing wrong with it at all. The rumor mill has it that what took place was the admiral wouldn't post photos of the president, the commander-in-chief, and the secretary of defense. Like, I don't like these people, so we're not going to put up their pictures. I don't know if that's actually the way it went down. It would be a kind of insane thing for an admiral to do. And according to sources, there were these statements that she was telling people, we'll just wait them out. I don't know. I would tell you that if you weren't putting up a photo, you were a child. And if you were saying things like, we're going to wait them out, then you are a traitor. Oh, I said it. I meant it. I'm not apologizing for it. You don't wait out the administration. You serve it. You serve the commander-in-chief. That's what you do. That's your job, soldier. Which brings us to this really weird phraseology. And according to some, she, at specific events and speeches, like a speech to mark Women's Equality Day back in 2015, she said that, quote, our diversity is our strength. Our diversity is our strength. This brings us back to Hegseth. Pete Hegseth, according to the story at military.com, the Secretary of Defense, has stated that the idea that diversity is a strength is, quote, the single dumbest phrase in military history. Just me? Really? No. All right. Just me. Correct. Accurate. What a ridiculous, nonsensical statement. It's like the idea of the concept of the stakeholder. Maybe you've heard this before. There's a business that wants to let's say enter a part of town or build something or do something. Well, we have to check with the stakeholders in the community. The who now? Oh, the stakeholders in the community. There are no stakeholders in the community. There are voters. What do you mean stakeholders? You're talking about some group of people who get to decide how a business operates. You've got laws, you've got rules, you've got regulations, all that stuff. The business is fitting into all those categories. Now you've got some outside group claiming they're stakeholders that are asking questions like, so how many Hispanic people are on your board? How many black people will you be hiring? Tell us your trans policies. Stakeholders. The concept of the stakeholder is dangerous. It creates diminishing returns. It is a blight. It is a blight. It absolutely is. Because it makes this determination that somehow the business can only exist if this group here gets some outsized influence, some outsized attention. Nah, this is the same reason why I oppose hate crimes. I don't know if you know that about me. I am opposed to the concept of hate crimes. They're not real. They don't exist. There are people who do hateful things. There are people who do hateful things for all sorts of reasons. I don't argue that there aren't people out there who've been targeted because of the color of their skin or their religion or their sexual orientation. That has happened, and it is awful. It's just not more of a crime. Somebody attacking my Jewish mother is attacking my mother. And the attack in and of itself is the crime. It is not more of a crime because because my mother is Jewish. Well, it's the motivating factor, and that's what we're discussing here. No, the motivating factor could be a myriad of things, but let's say it was the motivating factor. Is it more of a crime than if the motivating factor was to take her wallet? I think it is offensive and downright un-American to say that it's more of a crime. It's wrong, it's ugly, it's bigoted. You could say all those things. But if my mother gets mugged, a Jewish woman, and a Christian man gets mugged, and somehow it's more of a crime because it happened against my mother, that's weird. That's wrong. Now, as the families of these two groups, we may respond differently. Well, that's the mugger's problem when I find him. But the crime is the crime itself. It's not more of a crime. This idea of stakeholder is ridiculous claptrap nonsense that is very much related to this idea of diversity, and our diversity is our strength. No, it's not, Admiral. Your strength is the ability to, with precision, drop bombs on the enemy till the enemy stops twitching. That's your strength. Your strength is being able to put your soldiers, your sailors, your airmen in the right uniform with the right materials, the right weaponry, the right protection at the right time to absolutely obliterate the enemy until they stop twitching. It's not diversity. There is no diversity in the uniform. I never served a day in my life, and I would argue that the military was better off. Back then, you would not have wanted me, and I don't think the military would have shaped me. I think it would have just further broken me until I realized what was wrong with me and then worked to make it better. That's my story. I don't claim to be something that I'm not. A lot of respect for the people who had enough in their own head, enough understanding of self. This is the life they wanted to pursue. All the respect in the world. The Admiral is wrong. If the Admiral were to believe that our diversity is our strength, because, as I stated, anyone who wears the uniform, they're all the same. The enemy firing is not going to skip the black soldier, the Hispanic soldier. The enemy firing is not asking, well, which ones of you are gay so I don't bother you? That isn't the way any of it works. Diversity is meaningless. The mission is everything. The training is everything. The will to destroy the enemy until they stop twitching is everything. That doesn't make me a warmonger. It makes me understanding of what the situation is. And why would anybody want it to be anything else? Why would you want the military to be a tool of social change? That's the last thing in the world you would want. And I would argue that if indeed the Admiral believed this, that is reason enough for her removal. Because that puts us in danger. Proving that this diversity argument is not a strength, but actually a weakness. It weakens the military. It weakens readiness. It weakens the capability. It weakens our ability to make the other side stop twitching. Because if they can twitch, they can fire. This line, this ridiculous line, our diversity is our strength, is indeed, as the Secretary said, the single dumbest phrase in military history, except it's not just military history. It's a ridiculous, ridiculous statement. It's a ridiculous statement if it should happen in the military. It's a ridiculous statement if it should happen in the boardroom. It's a ridiculous statement if it should happen in the pick your charitable group. No. We'd be doing ourselves a favor by dismissing that nonsense. Hire good people. Good people are all around you. Open your eyes to good people. Do not engage in quotas. Engage in what you need. And then go about getting people who help you do the job, not because of the characteristic, but because of the mind and the mind alone and the willingness to get the job done. Diversity doesn't make willingness. Willingness, the recognition that it is us or them in the military, the recognition that the mission is the mission and the job is only complete when the other guy stops twitching, that's what matters. That's the strength. That and daisy cutters. That's the strength. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Good gosh. The White House is sending out talking points about unfair trade policies, 2020 studies, 2019 studies, 2018 studies. They should have been doing this in the months before. That's my only argument. They should have been doing that in the months before. Oh, I've got the I've got the Sunny Host in audio. The Katz Chronicles. Yeah. Does it have to have my name on it? I don't know. I'm just saying. I just don't. Yeah, I have to talk about her, and I don't know about Katz Chronicles. I don't know about that. Does it have to have my name on it? If I do it, does it have to have my name? I see. I think that's just it. Which will lead us down another road of conversation regarding when people do create things, what works and what doesn't. The only person I've seen create something that had a modicum of working outside of their own content creation was Bongino Report. But that was really an extension of the podcast brand more than it's standalone, right? Even when we look at Daily Wire, right? It doesn't have Shapiro's name on it, but they certainly made it about Shapiro and those other guys. And I don't know. Like I don't work there. I don't know the inside information. I know the CEO left. I know another person left. I know there were some layoffs. That's all public information. I'm not speaking out of school there, but I can't tell you what it means on the inside. People can rumor all they want. Knock yourselves out. I don't play in the rumors. It ain't for me. But I think there is a problem when it becomes about personality and not about the thing. Like that seems to be, and I could tie this to a couple of other creations out there. It's got to be about the thing, about whether it's the reporting or the commentary, the content, and not about a person. I think that's the only way it works. I could be wrong. I think it's the only way it works. Where is, oh, hello, Sunny Hostin, talking about voter ID. She's precious. She is precious. And when I say precious, I mean yuck. I don't know why that made me laugh. I don't know. First of all, we're not calling it the Red Cats. What am I, a commie? What do you mean like Red State? See, there's already Red State. And there used to be something called Rare. That lasted for a little while. Red is the center, is why they called it Rare. This is good. The Fakakta Review. The Fakakta Daily Journal. Now we're talking. Now we're on to something. Nicely done. You get no money for that at all. Yeah, you figure out the markets. Go ahead. The Dow was down. It started down 800 in the pre-market. The Dow is right now up. And remember, it's all going to change. Who knows how it's going to close? I have no idea. But earlier, it was at one moment up nearly 1,500. And the NASDAQ was up over 800. Now, all of this doesn't change certain realities because the stock market, wait for it, is not the indicator of economic health. It can do well and the economy is bad. It can do poorly and the economy is good. Calm down. Calm down, if you don't mind. So just as a matter of giving a little bit of perspective, and I've got Dr. Matt Will coming up because I wanted to talk to him about bonds, what's happening with the bond market, and specifically what the Chinese might do regarding dumping bonds. I'll get to that. But first, there was this insanity from Joy Behar. Nope, not Joy Behar. I got the wrong one there. I got the wrong ridiculous person. And this one is Sunny Hostin.
Okay, people, move along. There's nothing to see here. Okay,
Right.
people, move.
I gotcha. Nothing to see here whatsoever. You are absolutely right. She is special.
These people.
Yep, I don't say no to that as well. And of course, anytime you're talking about Sunny Hostin,
Hey, old white men.
yeah, I understand. She's talking about voter ID laws. I don't know. She looks like she's on a podcast. I do not know where she is or why she's having this conversation. But this is Sunny Hostin, Legal Eagle. Maybe that'll be the name of my new publication, the TK Eagle. Right? The Eagle Report. No, that's way too. I'd have to wear American flag suits for that. I've been thinking about what if I had my own news service, what would it be? And it turns out the name I just chose, terrible. I'm not going to do that. But Legal Eagle, Sunny Hostin, she has got thoughts. And her thoughts are basically ridiculous.
The reason Democrats don't want voter ID is because they make it much more difficult for elderly people, people that don't travel, don't have a passport, poor people, that don't have cars, don't have driver's licenses. So it's sort of a vestige of, I think.
Hold on a second. Let's get to what your vestige is in a second. All these old people who show an ID every time they get a prescription. What are you talking about? You made it up, Sunny Hostin. You made it up. Of course you did. You didn't actually mean it. You didn't actually believe it. It's like, no. This is just a thing that I say. That's why you're forced to do so many corrections on your show when you say things, but you don't actually know what they mean. You say things, you don't actually know if it's true. And then you got to give some kind of legal disclaimer because you got caught in it. But again, what does she really want to say about voter ID?
It's sort of a vestige of, I think, post-slavery laws where Black people had to prove their right to vote. And oftentimes they couldn't vote because they couldn't pass some crazy test or they didn't have the appropriate ID.
God, I don't know the name of the guy interviewing her, but the look on his face right now, honestly, if Honey Please needed a meme, needed an avatar, this is it. I have to show an ID at my bank. I have to show an ID when I buy a bourbon. I have to show an ID when I get Sudafed. I have to show an ID when I'm on a plane. And never once did I say, this is because of slavery. She made it up. She just made it up. She knows she doesn't buy into it. She knows she doesn't believe it, but it's what you say. Every single person opposed to voter ID favors the opportunity for fraud. I'm not saying that fraud will happen, but you favor the opportunity for fraud. Also, because there's only so much of Sunny Host I can take, I forgot to discuss, as I was discussing Pete Hegseth, his trip to the Panama Canal. He was there in Panama. It's the second or third visit by the U.S. It was Marco Rubio soon after getting sworn in as Secretary of State. And he was stating that this idea of China having control of the Panama Canal is over. The United States of America will not allow communist China or any other country to threaten the canal's operation or integrity. To this end, the United States and Panama have done more in recent weeks to strengthen our defense and security cooperation than we have in decades. Good. You can't have China in control. You can't have China controlling the 5G networks in the United States. You can't have them deciding the protocols for 5G, which would give them control over the Internet of Things. You can't allow them to have control of the Panama Canal and deciding what ships go through, knowing what's exactly on those ships, and then deciding which ships should be seized or not. You can't allow the communists, the Chi-Coms. I've been channeling a little bit of Rush on that one there because I've never used the expression Chi-Coms until like the last 2 days. It's just been on my mind. You can't allow them to have any power. You can't allow them to have any control. You can't allow them anything. Anything. That explains that. I was talking about the increase in the market earlier, and why is it happening? A 90-day tariff pause on some countries. Yet the tariffs on China go up. Oh, well, it's not what he says, it's what he does. A reminder, I'm Tony Katz. Good Lord. Good Lord. It's funny, as I'm looking, I see a note from Sarah. Are you looking at the markets right now? Are you looking at what's happening right now? Oh, yes, I am, as the market's now been jumping over 2,400. I do not know how MAGAville spins this. I was going to share this conversation with Dr. Will, but I don't think it works now. Let me see if I can grab him. Sorry, guys, working. Good gosh, no wonder. So now it wasn't about lowering interest rates to refinance the debt. Oh, MAGAville's not going to be pleased with me. We're going to throw some punches today. And the argument is, if you had just engaged in the honest conversation from the beginning, you like this, you don't like that, you're willing to give it a try, you're willing to see what happens, as opposed to everything he's doing is genius, you'd be a lot better off. A lot better off. I wonder if he's speaking about this. Let me see if there's going to be. Hold on a second. Let me see if he's speaking. I don't see that he is. If he does, I want to bring it to you. No, Don't want that. Don't want that. Let me see if that works. No, nothing yet. But if he does speak, I will absolutely bring it to you. That is, I don't know where it ends. It went up to 2,400, down to 1,800. Right now, it's at 2,315. But I can't play the audio that I have because I mean the whole situation has changed. All right. Oh, no one's gonna be happy with me. What are you gonna do? I hope you love me for me. All right, let's go. We should have cigars for this thing. Yes, Kenneth, he did say he likes to be unpredictable. But this is going back on your word. The tariffs were beautiful. Oh, no. Oh, no. No. We're going to be slapping some people around tonight. Oh, now I need a cigar. Do I have time to get one? No, it's too late. Let's go. Holy Mick crapsicles. The Dow has been up 2,400 right now. And I'm sharing this with you as it's happening. Up 2297. Why? What just happened? Trump has announced a 90-day pause. A 90-day pause. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. I am going to get yelled at, but for the record, I don't care. And the reason is honesty requires us to engage honestly. Trump is going to immediately raise tariffs on Chinese imports to 125%. Based on the lack of respect that China has shown to the world markets. But on Truth Social, he states, conversely, and based on the fact that more than 75 countries have called representatives of the United States, including the Departments of Commerce, Treasury, and the USTR, to negotiate a solution to the subjects being discussed relative to trade barriers, tariffs, currency manipulation, and non-monetary tariffs, and that these countries have not, at my strong suggestion, retaliated in any way, shape, or form against the United States, I have authorized a 90-day pause and a substantially lowered reciprocal tariff during this period of 10%, also effective immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter. What Trump says is meaningless. This is a recording. What matters is what he does. What did we say from the very beginning? We said it doesn't matter that he talks about deals. It matters what the deal is. That's the only thing that matters. Why did he say, and if you follow me over there at TonyKatz.com, you get the show sheet every morning, which talks about things that I'm going to be discussing on my radio shows. And I said, as clear as day, the key phrase here is tailored deals. These nations need to come talk to us so we can tailor a deal to them and for us. Tailored deals fits in perfectly to the idea of the two rules of Trumpism. The two rules of Trumpism, as I have coined them years ago, The first rule of Trumpism is Trump wins. The second rule of Trumpism is that a deal can always be made as long as it adheres to the first rule of Trumpism. What is a win? Well, whatever Trump decides. Oh, that could be the third rule of Trumpism. What is a win? Whatever Trump decides. A tailored deal, well, that's whatever he decides. You have a situation where Trump can say, well, we're going to eliminate tariffs because you're going to buy these weapon systems from us. We're going to change the tariffs because you're doing something else for us in relationship to another subject. Everything's a win, even if it doesn't mean changing the imbalance of a trade deal. Even if it doesn't change the actual trade deficits. And again, trade deficits are not the worst things in the world. Sometimes they're very beneficial for us. Nations that have a surplus aren't as well off as we are if we're in a deficit. And there are reasons for that. Good, strong, smart economic reasons. You don't necessarily need those things to balance out. Declaring a win is what matters. The problem with this pause for the Trump faithful, by the way, oil prices just jumped $3 a barrel back to $60, $60.94 on the West Texas crude, $64.02. But do I have the chart? I do. Hold on. Let me see if I can get this for you. Check out the chart here. You can see it with your own eyes that you see that? The second the pause was announced, boop, it just jumped up. Just absolutely nutty how that happened. Same thing is true with the markets as a whole. Here is now the conversation for the MAGA faithful. Their conversation goes like this. You told us, because Trump told us that tariffs are the most beautiful word in the world. Tariffs are the greatest thing in the world. Tariffs are how we fight back. Tariffs are how we are able to bring back American greatness. This is what the MAGA faithful told us, because this is what the MAGA faithful were told. Now what? Is this another conversation of Trump 4D chess? Is that what this is? I do not know if this is another example of Trump 4D chess. I do know that the Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, is speaking. Let me see if I can grab him right here for you.
Excuse me, Raquel, if I could just add to what the secretary said. Many of you in the media clearly missed the art of the deal. You clearly failed to see what President Trump is doing here. You tried to say that the rest of the world would be moved closer to China when in fact we've seen the opposite effect. The entire world is calling the United States of America, not China, because they need our markets, they need our consumers, and they need this president in the Oval Office to talk to them. And that's exactly why more than 75 countries have called, because the United States of America is the best place in the world to do business. And as the president has shown great courage, as the secretary has said, in choosing to retaliate against China even higher. Elena, go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Treasury Secretary Hegseth. Can you explain more of the decision making on what feels like a reversal here? I mean, just these went into effect less than 15 hours ago, these tariffs. Why the pause now? What led to that?
No, again, President Trump created maximum negotiating leverage for himself, and which tariffs went into effect 15 hours ago. The ones that we have lowered went into effect a week ago. They were announced a week ago, and we've just been overwhelmed by the response from mostly our allies who want to come and negotiate in good faith. So we are expecting them to come with their best deal. as I said a week ago today, don't retaliate, hold your ground, let's see what happens. And China, they kept escalating and escalating, and now they have 125% tariffs that will be effective immediately.
Mr. Secretary,
Go ahead.
Mr. Secretary, thanks so much for doing this. The 90-day pause on the reciprocal tariffs, is that because of the whiplash that we've been seeing across the financial markets? How much was, what we saw in the stock markets, a part of this decision?
No, it's because because of the large number of inbounds, we've had more than 75 countries contact us, and I imagine after today there will be more. So it is just a processing problem. Each one of these solutions is going to be bespoke. It is going to take some time, and President Trump wants to be personally involved. So that's why we're getting the 90-day pause.
Yeah, that dog won't hunt. I don't think that's going to satisfy. That's not why we have the 90-day pause.
Look, it's all the president's decision, and the president had a level in mind to raise the China tariffs, and then he had the 3-month pause in mind, and we were discussing the exact wording.
Now, one could argue that you want to entice more nations to come to you and not to China. I do not think Caroline Levitt is right that nations aren't talking to China. I think that's what you want to say. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. We've seen reporting on this, but who knows whatever is really and truly true. And I would agree. Why would anybody want to run to China? But nations desperate to sell will do desperate things. The idea that you would pause this without deals in place means that the deal wasn't the thing that was necessary. Increasing the tariffs on China because they're increasing the tariffs on you is to show them you're not going to run. You'll quite literally do anything. Don't you get that I'm crazy? You can't win this fight. I'm nuts. I will do anything. I will put a 900% tariff on you, and then I'll go play golf. Watch what I do. Every round, I'll add another 100 points of tariff. I get a birdie. That's another 20% tariff increase. Trump would totally do that. Tariff golf? Oh, who wouldn't watch? It'll be bigger than the Masters. But pausing tariffs on a whole host of nations before deals? Sorry. No. We're not going to lie. That is a whiplash effect. That is saying we want some confidence getting back into the markets. Who knows where they're going to end, by the way. But I don't think Bessent is doing anybody any favors here in this press conference. Not in the slightest. I will get back to Scott Bessent if they're still talking. Keep it here. The story, the focus is China. Well, that's where it should have been to begin with. I'm all down for that. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. All right, I'll bring it back to Scott Bessent.
That you're going to be able to strike a satisfactory deal with all these 75 nations that
It signals that President Trump cares about trade.
Yes, Kenneth.
And that we want to negotiate in good faith. And as I said, each one of these is going to be a separate, bespoke negotiation. So we are confident that having seen the other side of where this could go. And it was like I said last week, the market didn't understand. Those were maximum levels. The countries can think about those levels as they come to us to bring down their tariffs, their non-tariff trade barriers. We're going to discuss currency manipulation, subsidy of labor and industry.
Secretary, thank you. Will the pause also apply to the sectoral tariffs that the president has announced, pharma, lumber, anything else?
No, it's on the reciprocal.
So those will still be coming here soon, right?
Mr. Secretary,
NASDAQ up 13 right now, up 1,300.
What you're doing here. So the market is reacting crazily, right?
I haven't seen it.
Do you think that this move is going to change and calm down the market reaction?
What?
The markets have tanked, right? There's been a lot of volatility.
Markets didn't tank.
Not just in terms of
everybody retreating to their ideological,
Will this move in your mind
such unbelievable crap.
Well, I think what we've seen, I think the willingness by more than 75 countries to come and negotiate, I think now the market understands that everything they saw last Wednesday was a ceiling, and now we have a 10% temporary floor. And I think the market, in my 35 years in the market, I always wanted certainty, so I think we've got more certainty.
But Mr. Secretary,
Maggie, go ahead.
Mr. Secretary, why do people assume this is the last word? The president began this morning saying, be cool. 5 hours later, he announces a new policy. Why will investors in the market assume that this is it?
Because, again, as I said, we've given 90 days, and the only certainty we can provide is that the U.S. is going to negotiate in good faith, and we assume that our allies will too. And in terms of certainty, we will see what China does. But what I'm certain of is that what China is doing will affect their economy much more than it will ours, because they have an export-driven, flood the world with cheap export models, and the rest of the world now understands, because when we put up our tariff wall, those exports were already flowing to the rest of the G7 and to the global south.
And you think
Mr. Secretary, how much of this decision was driven by the bond market cratering overnight? What is happening with bonds? Is China selling their bonds?
I have nothing that says that, and we actually had quite a good 10-year auction today, and all this was, again, this was driven by the president's strategy. He and I had a long talk on Sunday, and this was his strategy all along. And that, you might even say that into a bad position. They responded. They have shown themselves to the world to be the bad actors, and we are willing to cooperate with our allies.
You know what I love?
Our trading partners,
commitment,
who did not retaliate. It wasn't a hard
there
message.
is Bassett.
Don't retaliate. Things will turn out well.
Engage in the game. He's wrong about taking up the tariffs. He's right about China.
How long will that take? Will it be a matter of weeks? Will it be a matter of months? Do you expect financial markets to be stable during that time period?
Well, we started with a 90-day pause, and we will see if more countries turn up, what will happen. But we have a meeting with Vietnam today, and we have one of the largest trade deficits with them. So I'm hoping it will move in a good direction. I was at the Japanese ambassador's house last night for the Cherry Blossom Festival, which was quite festive. And he and I had a good chat. They are going to send a deal team over. So we'll see. These are complicated negotiations. These are imbalances that have taken decades to create. But I think, having seen the maximum level that Donald Trump is willing to go to, President Trump has created this negotiating leverage.
Excuse me, everybody. Excuse me. The secretary is obviously a very busy man. As he has said, he's had more than 75 countries that the trade team has to respond to. I'd just like to end with this. For decades, Republicans and Democrats have said that these unfair trade practices are ripping off the American people, are ripping off our country, but nobody has ever done anything to address it. We finally have a president here at the White House who is playing the long game, who is doing what is right for the American worker and our industries here at home. And he has put together a fantastic team in Secretary Bassett, Secretary Lusnick, the entire trade team, who will be focusing on negotiating these good deals to put the American workers first. And we're going to get to work to do that. Thank you.
You took off tariffs without a deal being struck, Caroline Levitt. Who are you talking to? Tony Katz today. Upheaval. Oh, is this a thing? That was Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary. That was Caroline Levitt, the press secretary, saying that the tariffs on China are now 125%, and there's a 90-day pause on others. You cannot sit there, although they did it. You cannot at all stand there and say and try and tell us that this was Trump's plan all along. When Trump told us tariffs are the most beautiful word in the world, these countries are all abusing us and it's going to stop. They're begging to make deals with us, and we're going to make deals that are tailored for each person, for each country. And then say, oh, by the way, I'm Johnny from Airplane unplugging the lights at the on the airway. Just kidding. It's not how this works. We see you. Obviously, the decision to pause the other countries came from two things. Number one, the market being down and the bond market issues gave you issue. Real life came a-calling. And number two, China indeed give you the opportunity. They indeed did give you the opportunity to call them the enemy. With China, you've got America on your side. You have got the people on your side who are more than happy to say, let's go crush these no good so-and-sos. You know, that whole conversation from Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank.
104% tariffs in China are not enough. I'm advocating 400%. I do business in China. They don't play by the rules. They've been in the WTO for decades. They have never abided by any of the rules they agreed to when they came in for decades. They cheat, they steal IP. I can't litigate in their courts. They take product, technology, they steal it, they manufacture it and sell it back here. Never has an administration.
400% tariffs? What would that
I
look
want
like?
Xi on an airplane to Washington to level the playing field. It's just not about tariffs.
Kevin O'Leary is right. And America sees China as different than all these other countries. It is a different visceral reaction. And you've heard me say this. I mean, it's nice to know that Kevin O'Leary listens to the show. I wouldn't pay China the debt that we owe them, allegedly. They already got paid back in everything they've stolen. Stop writing them checks. What are we talking about? Enough with these people. Enough with these Chi-Coms. But not keeping the tariffs up on other nations when you told us it was the most beautiful word in the world? With all due respect, Scott Bessent, who are you talking to? Our eyes don't work. Our ears don't work. We don't have the gray matter in between to coalesce the vapors. We see you. We see you. You didn't like what was happening in the market. You didn't like what was happening in the bond market. You decided you've got an enemy in China. Focus on that. And maybe tariffs aren't the most beautiful thing in the world. Certainly not tariffs based on trade deficits, which make no sense. We'll follow it. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz today. Good gosh. You know, it's funny. I don't get to share with you the interview with Dr. Will, right? Because it kind of blows up. And I've got some other stuff that I had done. I was going to share with everybody. I think I got to keep going here. I'll make that call. I do. I think I got to keep going here. I'm going to do that. And now I'm on Newsmax at 3, and then I'm on Newsmax at 5:20. So I got a bunch going on. But yeah, I got to see what happens. I have to. So I'm going to take the break here. And then we'll come back to it. Hold on. Look at this. Look at this. Gosh, you're so smart, James. You're so smart and you're so bright. It's if you would listen to the show, it would be great. But that's your issue. You want to be this guy, be this guy. I think we're having the conversation in the most accurate way possible. But you should start your own radio show, man. And gosh, you're gonna get people flocking to you. Flocking! I say. I wish you the best, man. I hope you're way more popular than me. I really do. I just hope that you get millions and millions and millions of followers and you make trillions of dollars. You should make more money than the national debt. Really. Go get them, man. You're the best. Just make it happen. We're gonna take a quick break. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Same comments over and over and over again. Challenge the ideas. Sure, we can agree or disagree, but being silly or like insulting, it's just no need. We're busy. Yeah, I'll keep up with this. We'll be back in a moment. Keep it here. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz. Today, I forgot to mention. Oh, you know what? I'll get to sponsors coming up in a little bit. We've got more to get to. Guys. We'll be right back. Like that. Usually I fade out the music, but no time for that. Guys, welcome. Tony Katz today. Yeah, I had a snack. I'm not shy about those things. Normally I usually end the stream about now, but with this new announcement regarding the tariffs, where the pause is taking place, China is now 125%. Buy your computers now. Oh, sorry. The Dow is now up 2,600. This is crazy. Now, the tariffs have not been dropped completely. They're now at 10%. Not completely. They're at 10%. I will have the latest on this when we come back in just a matter of seconds. My name is Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Brought to you by the good people at Von Reist. I'm wearing the chronograph today. Look at that beaut right there. VonReist.com. Use promo code CATS to get your discount. And they've got a great selection of watches, all assembled right here in the United States. No tariffs. And you can get yours. Go to Von Reist, RIESTE, VonReist.com. Use promo code CATS and go get yourself a watch and a nice one that you'll be able to pass down through the generations. Or, I don't know, use it every day. Your choice. VonReist.com. Let's go. You know what they say to me? They say to me, well, Tony, it must be easy being a radio talk show host. A lot of stuff to talk about. I'm not paid for what I talk about. I'm paid for knowing what to talk about and what to leave by the wayside. One does not leave by the wayside that Trump just paused tariffs and boosted China to 125%, making the Dow go up 2,600 points, the NASDAQ up 1,500 as we speak. And somehow I'm supposed to believe this was all part of the plan. Guys. Stop it. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. 833-GOT-TONY, 833-468-8669, 833-GOT-TONY. The live stream happening on YouTube, on the Twitter X at Tony Katz, YouTube Tony Katz, Facebook Tony Katz Radio, brought to you by Von Reist. The watch people assembled in Indiana, right here in the United States of America. Von Reist, RIESTE, VonReist.com. Check them out for yourself and use promo code CATS, that's my last name, to get your discount. This is nutty. President Trump announcing via Truth Social that the tariffs would be reduced for most everybody, but they will actually remain. You will have tariffs of 10% on everyone, but there's a 90-day pause. Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, came out in front of the White House to say, well, you see, so many nations are reaching out to us. So many nations are talking to us. So many nations are connecting with us. Well, we're just overwhelmed. We're overwhelmed. I tell you, we're overwhelmed. Although he said it in his perfectly Scott Bessent way. Scott Bessent wears a suit, and the suit's like, thank you. Because it's so banker. It's so perfect. And he's like, well, we just had to put a pause on things. The MAGA faithful will tell you, see, Trump's playing 4D chess. Brilliant. Trump told us very, very clearly that the word tariff is the most beautiful word in the world. And what we need is to implement these tariffs in order to bring about fairness to the American worker. And when challenged on this point, it was the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, who said, well, clearly you all never read The Art of the Deal.
If I could just add to what the secretary said, many of you in the media clearly missed the art of the deal. You clearly failed to see what President Trump is doing here. You tried to say that the rest of the world would be moved closer to China when in fact we've seen the opposite effect. The entire world is calling the United States of America, not China, because they need our markets, they need our consumers, and they need this president in the Oval Office to talk to them. And that's exactly why more than 75 countries have called, because the United States of America is the best place in the world to do business. And as the president has shown great courage, as the secretary has said, in choosing to retaliate against China.
Nothing wrong with retaliating against China. We'll get to that in a moment. We don't know yet whether other nations are really talking to China or not. This is a talking point. This is not necessarily fact. I would think another nation would be insane to talk to China, because how would one trust China? But I'm bringing up a different subject. I'm discussing what it is the administration faithful said to the American people about these tariffs. Tariffs are beautiful, we were told. Why not implement them? Maybe tariffs aren't as beautiful as we were told. Maybe tariffs are indeed taxes. Maybe you don't want any of this, and maybe, just maybe, what you have here is a look at the market and you said, this is going a little too south, too quick, more than we like. Why don't we make a change? Now, to Anthony's point here on the live stream, what would be the best way to minimize the effect of tariffs on the U.S. economy if we were about to engage in a trade war with China? Get other countries to drop their tariffs. Anthony, I appreciate the comment there. Now, I wholeheartedly believe in ending China's opportunities for dominance. I wholeheartedly believe in forcing China to play by the rules, which they don't. I am the one who has stated that we should not pay back the debt with cash, with a check, with an interest payment, because we've already paid it. We paid it when they stole our technology. We paid it when they stole our intellectual property. I am on record for years on this subject. And that we should take the money that we allegedly owe China and we should pay off the student loan debt of every nurse in America. Do it wonders for national security. With all due respect, you could argue that it should go back to the American people, and I wouldn't necessarily say no to that, because the American people should always get back their money. But if you told America, we took this money that we owed China, and we said, you steal and you lied about COVID and you cost us lives, screw off. We're taking every nurse in America, we're paying off their student loans, and we're going to create a fund for 10,000 more nurses that's going to be able to pay their student loans at the current rate that right now nursing school is, so places can't raise their rate to get more cash from the American people. And that's what we're doing with the money. 98 out of 100 people would say, cool. They would be black and white and Christian and Jewish and Muslim and Hispanic and Asian and from rich areas and poor areas. And they'd go, that makes perfect sense. I could go through any neighborhood in Harlem or any neighborhood in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they would say the same thing. Well, it's a lot better than giving it to those Chi-Coms. Every single one. Maybe they think it'll go to this, it should go to that, but in the main, nurses? Great. Remember when nurses were heroes until they wouldn't take a COVID vaccine and then the left called them villains? Yeah, let's call them heroes again and let's pay out their student loan debt. And let's have more nurses. So I am all about not giving China any respect. crushing their desires, whether it be Belt and Road, China 2025, their desires for hegemonic power, their ability to control things in the Taiwan Strait. I'd be very clear, and I'd be actually moving to think about, but actually doing military exercises in the Taiwan Strait to let China know we're not playing around. You're the problem. You manipulate the yuan, you manipulate the dollar, you lie. You are the fraudulent power because all communists are lying frauds. I am all in favor, 1,000% in favor of all of that. But you paused tariffs and you told America that tariffs were important for getting the new trade deals and we were being ripped off and not any longer. And then you paused the tariffs on the nations. It was all part of a genius strategy. The strategy was to get better trade deals. You mean it was never about that? It was about bringing back manufacturing because we need manufacturing to be a strong nation. Well, if we don't have the tariffs, we're not really bringing back the manufacturing. Oh, it was all about China. Others can go about turning themselves into pretzels and engaging in a manipulation to get to this place. Or you could just be honest about the whole damn thing. It wasn't going as smoothly as Trump would have liked. He did not anticipate the market reaction. He wanted to be able to quite possibly bring down interest rates to be able to refinance the $28 trillion of debt the United States has over the next 4 years that's coming due at a lower interest rate, saving the dollars on that. And then China gave the threat about dumping bonds, which would make the bond very much in supply, the demand far lower, and the interest rate would rise, ruining that plan if that indeed was the plan. So China now puts itself out there as the enemy, which they are, and the enemy that America most is willing to confront and have a fight with. And now you say, okay, let's make this about China. Let's just go beat them. You realize you could have done all of that without any of this with any of other nation. You didn't have to do it this way. That's my argument. That's my point. Trump could have rallied the country into dealing with China. Trump did it this way. I could disagree all I want, and I do. What does any of that matter? As I stated from the very moment this happened, we're in the great game now. We're in it. And so now that we're in it, I want to win. I need to win. It's important. I have kids. You may have kids. You might have grandkids. I don't know. I try not to ask about your sex life. So, congratulations if you do. We want to win. And beating China is super important. But be clear. You can't tell America that the most beautiful word in the world is tariff, and we're going to create better trade deals, and that's going to make us strong, and then say, no. Too many nations called. We were overwhelmed. That's actually not a message you want to put out into the world, Treasury Secretary Hegseth. So no, I'm not going to buy into that. You put out a strategy. The strategy didn't work as well as you wanted it to, but it created an opportunity, and you're now taking full advantage of the opportunity based on how China reacted. Okay. You rolled with the punches, President Trump. Cool. That's what the rest of us are doing too. We're rolling with the punches. Let's roll. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Anthony, I love the comments, man. I do appreciate it. By the way, to the trolls, this is disagreement. This is not trolling. There's a difference. Vietnam, South Korea, Japan, they are on the doorstep. China is on their doorstep, and they would have helped in the fight because they're dealing with China as a hegemonic power. Actually dealing with China in their oceans, trying to make claim to the international waters there and get very, very aggressive. You could have had them anyway. That's my point. But that might be secondary at this stage of the game. I think that if we just approach this, if everybody had approached this with a lot more honesty and clarity, we'd be a lot better off. This was never great. It was never great. That's all. That's all there is, boo-boo. But we're in it. We're in it. The one thing I simply won't accept is this very not everything is that thing. It's just not the way it works. And I think it's weird when people do it. I think it's weird when people say it. I just think it's awkward. It's possible. Very, very, very possible that it's just luck or just rolling with the punches, as I said. Now being reported that the White House says that a TikTok deal is probably off the table. Now I want to see Trump say goodbye to TikTok. That's what I want to see. I want to see them say, get out. Because Trump tried to extend for another 75 days. He doesn't have the authority to do that. The deal is very clear. He doesn't have the authority to do that. He shouldn't be doing it. I want him doing the things that he can do. Immigration. Did I see that there were two other judges who were trying to tell him he can't engage in deportations, even though the Supreme Court already said he can using the Alien Enemies Act? Who are these judges? You'll note that like this area, this economic area is the only place I have disagreement. On the border, nope. On Israel, nope. On Ukraine, well, I believe in supporting Ukraine, and clearly the president does too. We haven't seen any movement on there. On the deportations, no. I'm all down. On cleaning out the swamp, hell yeah. Oh, I've got much more good than bad. Oh, I don't. As much as this upsets the political left, I have no buyer's remorse. I do not regret my vote at all. This is nutty. Music is coming back in 5 seconds. You know we're doing a radio show too, right? Yeah, turns out, producer Landon, we also do radio. What can't we do? Also, it's snowing in Indianapolis. It's a weird day. So Trump drops tariffs, but not completely. The Dow crosses over 2,500 up for the day. Oil prices shoot back up to over $60 a barrel. And, well, I don't know. I'm just waiting for the next shoe to drop. Oh, the volatility index, it dropped 15 points in a matter of seconds. because the tariffs have been paused on most countries, and the tariff on China has been boosted to 125%. That was the announcement today. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. It's been a roller coaster. It has been a thing, and it's going to be the talk of the town because Lord only knows what's going to happen tomorrow. Have no clue how it's all going to break down tomorrow. Trump is getting ready. I don't know when this is going to happen. You've got NASCAR out there in front of the White House, and you've got IndyCar out there. Oh, you know how I love Indianapolis. Love IndyCar. I get to do the pre-race coverage. This is year number 9 for me. Yeah, I do the entire pre-race coverage of the Indy 500 from right there at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, in Speedway, Indiana, right there in what's called Pagoda Plaza. Do it outdoors, and it is such a, if you have not done the Indy 500, it is a must. It's an absolute must of an event. Just the sound of those engines, and it's nothing compared to when Carb Day was Carb Day, and the roar was beyond deafening. Now it's just crazy loud. But the show starts at like 5 a.m. And so I end up getting there at like 3:30 in the morning. And the absolute best part of the day is I put my stuff down, I light a cigar, and the track has people, right? And the track is huge. I mean, it fits 300,000 people. You've never seen anything like it. You never felt anything like it when it's full. It's crazy. It's a small city. But there's this moment before the gates have opened, before we start the broadcast, and there's the stillness to the air, and people are buzzing about and doing their work, but it's empty. And to be basically on the track, smoking a cigar, 4 a.m., knowing that in just a couple of hours, place is going to be a sea of humanity, most of it wasted out of their minds. I mean, if you've never heard of the Snake Pit, just head on over to the YouTubes and take a look. Spectacular. It's an experience. It is an absolutely incredible experience. And I'm lucky I get to do it, right? I don't do the broadcast of the actual race. Those guys, Mark James and that whole team, those guys are insane. It is choreography. Listening to those guys do that, and go turn by turn and deal with the pits and everything else. I just do the pre-race, and just to be a part of that is super groovy. So anyway, there they are in front of the White House, and I think the president is going to come join them and chat with them. But the volatility index is what I was talking about. That is down. The volatility index, known as the VIX, is this idea of concern regarding what's going on in markets, what's going on with the economy. The concern is now less because the tariffs have been paused. And now the NASDAQ is up 1,600 and the Dow is up over 2,700. Okay, then. Wow. It's going to be a day. It is going to be a very interesting day. Everyone's going to have their take. Not the only things I wanted to get to. One of them was that Paxton is getting in the race. Ken Paxton is going to run for Senate against John Cornyn in Texas. Oh, this is going to be so much fun. So much fun. Cornyn has been a senator for 4 terms. That's 24 years. He wants a 5th term. Paxton, the attorney general of Texas, whom they've gone after, and he has fought off the challenges And one I think would be seen as much more Trump than certainly Cornyn, who might be seen as Rhino by the rest of us. I don't know how Texans see him. That is going to be a fight, and money is going to get spent, which I don't know if that damages either one of them before a general election against whoever the Democrat is, which might be Colin Allred if the Democrats want to run him again. That's going to be a fun fight to watch from the outside. This is Tony Katz Today. All right. Here's what I know. I have to get myself ready for doing some TV work. So the radio show will continue, but I got to go. Von Reist. Oh, check it out. Look at that. That is the Rudin record. That is a beautiful chrono right there with the Seiko movement. Spectacular, spectacular timepiece. Just go to vonreist.com. Use promo code CATS and get your discounts. Von Reist, R-I-E-S-T-E. Go to vonreist.com. Assembled right here in the United States, right here in Indiana. And get yours today. vonreist.com. Use promo code CATS. And yes, Trump, an American reset. In the 3 bourbons, that's taking place April 17th. And you can go to tickets.tonykatz.com. Tickets.tonykatz.com. Get your tickets right now. It is going to be such a good night with the bourbon, the cigars, the food, and we're going to go over Trump's first 100 days. And we're going to compare it to other 100 days. Tariff talk's going to be in there. It's going to be fantastic. Going to end the night with a fantastic cigar. Tickets.tonykatz.com. Get your tickets today. Guys, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you doing this. Catch me on Newsmax. I'll be on N2 at 3 o'clock. And then I will be on Newsmax. I think 5:20 is my hit time. Right? 5:20. So catch me there. Catch me outside. How about that? And I will see you then. I appreciate you guys very much. I will catch you tomorrow. Take care.